Welcome to Magic Mondays. I'm Jennifer Farner, a former private banker turned transformational coach, retreat leader, and mom of 3, and your hostess of this podcast. Hello and welcome to Magic Mondays. I'm Jennifer Farner, your hostess with the mostest. I was going to start this episode off talking about dates with the universe. And, I am sitting here, I'm looking out the window, and I'm seeing all these handprints from my kids on the window, and the sun is shining through them just at the right light that I can see them clearly. And it cracks me up because these handprints are all different directions. There's some where you can tell the hand has been pressed on the glass and slid down. Some it looks like they were trying to form some sort of a shape on the glass. And it made me laugh for one and remind me I need to clean the glass. But it also made me remember how as a kid, sometimes it was the smallest things that could just draw my attention in. And I'm sure you might have had a similar experience as well. Or if you haven't and you can't remember, ever notice watching your own children, little kids, I'm talking toddlers, when they get really focused on something, it just draws them in. It's as if nothing else, the rest of the world just seems to fall away. And it's them and whatever it is that's in front of them. I always wonder, what happens? What's going on in that little person's mind? But as I'm looking at these handprints on the window and all their different, positions and shapes, and I'm just reminded of how it can be the simple things, the simplest things in life that can bring us joy. Maybe it's putting handprints on a clean window, or it's writing words or drawing pictures in the steam on in the bathroom mirror. Or maybe it's putting your hand out the window when the car is driving and noticing how the air makes your hand fly up, makes your hand go down, makes your hand fly up. So it's the little things. So what are some of those little things in your life that suck you in if you allowed them to pull you in to the moment and allow your imagination to begin to flow? I had this interesting conversation with my kids the other day that I want to share. I have a 10-year-old daughter and I've got twin boys that are 6. And my boys were talking about their imaginary pets. And I was playing the game along with them. I was talking about my imaginary pet dragon named Lucy, and I was describing what she looks like, and they were each describing their own magical, mystical creatures that they have with them all the time. And my daughter, who was sitting there, part of this conversation, folded her arms and was very frustrated. And I asked her, I said, well, what's the matter? She said, I wish I had something like that. And I burst out laughing unintentionally. Sometimes our kids say things where you just can't help but smile. And this was one of those times. When she said that, I just looked at her and said, you do realize these are imaginary creatures, right? Yes, she said. So if it's an imaginary, do you have an imagination? Well, yeah, I have a great imagination. So why don't you create your own magical creature? And it can be anything you want. It doesn't have to be something that even exists. And so she thought about that for a moment, and she went away to her room, and she comes back about 10 minutes later with this drawing of the cutest little animal. And it was some combination of a dragon, a kitten, and a unicorn. And it was flying. I don't know. It was but my point in sharing this is so often, I think we do this as adults too. We look around at what everybody else is doing. It's like, well, why can they have more fun than I can? Or why do they have this and I don't? And we need to stop and pause and say, hey, whoa, wait, I can do that too. And it's about giving ourselves the permission to imagine, the permission to play, the permission to be drawn in by something as small as putting your fingers on the glass and making fingerprints or shadow puppets on the wall. But allowing ourselves to be in that space of play, that space of imagination, and giving ourselves that permission to act on that and to move and to act from that place rather than a place of shoulds, woulds, need tos, have tos. Moving from a place of, wouldn't it be great if? And I wonder what would happen if. How can I accomplish this? How can I make this happen? What would I love to create? Operating from that space opens up a world of possibilities. It opens up limitlessness, and it just opens up a space that is so big with so many opportunities that you don't even know exist. The example that I always like to share with my kids when they get frustrated sometimes, and I see them sometimes getting frustrated with, not being able to do something in this moment, and or something not being possible at this moment. And the example that I always try and give them is the iPhone. When I was a child, there were no cell phones. Okay, well, there were cell phones, but they were huge, chunky things that were super, super expensive. And I certainly didn't know anybody personally that had one. And computers were rare, but now we have this massively powerful computer that we can hold in our hands. Somebody had to think that this could be possible at some point, and they made that happen. And so that's an example I like to use with my kids, and I invite you into that same perspective of, just because something in your life doesn't exist right now, just because something doesn't seem possible with the way the technology or the resources that you have in this moment, doesn't mean it's not possible ever. But in order for it to be possible for you, it's important to step back, to open up your mind to the possibilities, to allow your imagination to run wild, to play, and imagine anything and everything that is possible out there. So I invite you this week to see how you can use your imagination in your day-to-day, however that looks for you. Maybe it's something as small as, perhaps I'm a runner, so maybe it's going for a run and imagining while you're on your run that your shoes sprout wings and you can fly, and it makes you go fast, really, really fast. Or maybe you imagine you can snap your fingers and pick up your house, just like they did in the Mary Poppins movie. It sounds silly, I know, but I invite you to try it. See where you can play. Allow yourself to just make fingerprints on the glass, so to speak, or make up your own imaginary friend. Draw pictures on the steam in the bathroom window. without thinking first, okay, if I do this, that means I'm going to have to clean the mirror. It's okay. Just allow yourself to be in that moment and allow yourself to play and just see how you feel. All right, so with that, trust your inner compass. It is stronger and more powerful than you know. So embrace the magic. It's in and around you. You just have to choose to see it. Until next time.